The Lafarge-Holcim Awards is the world's most significant competition for sustainable design. The awards program foregrounds projects and concepts from architecture, engineering, urban planning, materials science, construction technology, and related fields. The competition is conducted by the Lafarge-Holcim Foundation for Sustainable Construction. The foundation is an initiative of Lafarge-Holcim, the global leader in innovative and sustainable building solutions.
Holcim is at the forefront of sustainable building. Our foundation is a catalyst to amplify the best ideas in this area. We like to give a stage to the best and brightest minds in sustainable design and construction, to celebrate them and to accelerate their impact. And we have been doing this so since 2003. What I have learned during this time is that great ideas can come from anyone, anywhere on the planet. That's why I'm excited about the next generation of innovators, the students and young professionals who are disrupting the way we build and are reshaping how we live, from buildings and landscapes to the materials that we use. So please follow us to celebrate our next generation prize winners across the world. We are bringing them together as a global community, from the UK to Sierra Leone, from the US to Canada, and all the way from Indonesia to Argentina. I look forward to meeting with them and working together to create the built environment for tomorrow. With their fresh ideas, they keep us at the forefront of sustainable and innovative building solutions.
The Lafarge-Holcim Awards takes place across 5 regions: Europe, North America, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. There is a competition category for projects at an advanced stage of design and with a high probability of execution, and a next generation category for the visions and bold ideas of young professionals and students up to 30 years of age. In 2020, nearly 5,000 submissions from more than 120 countries were entered in the awards competition, almost half of them in the next generation category. Around 2,000 entries passed the pre-appraisal screening and were evaluated region by independent juries of experts who then nominated the winners. Today, we are delighted to announce the best next generation projects in Asia Pacific. In this region, 40% of the submissions evaluated by the jury were entered in the next generation category. Nirmal Kishnani headed the jury of independent experts.
On behalf of my fellow jurors, I'd like to thank everyone that took part in the next generation category and to congratulate the winners. We went through some 140 entries. Many of them had provocative ideas that were both thoughtful and forward-looking. As jurors, we were preoccupied with a few questions. How is this an intelligent assessment of a problem? How is this an insightful solution? How is this specific to the challenges of the region? We found many examples of contextual thinking. There were entries that sought to cope with issues of urban density, of social inequity, of ecological loss. There were several types of responses. There were those at the building scale that sought to deal with materiality, with climate, with consumption and waste. There were those that dealt with larger systems at the urban and the regional scales, talking about agriculture, hydrology, mobility and resource flows. And then there were those that dealt with ecology, the importance of nature, of biodiversity, of restoring blue and green networks. So the final decision was not easy. The shortlisted entries were all of very high quality. But the jury was also looking for a measure of synthesis and significance. So how does this proposal deal with multiple issues in a compelling and elegant way? Does it force us to rethink our assumptions? To all entrants, you challenged and provoked us, and thank you for that. To the winners, congratulations, you are now part of a very important conversation on the future of our planet. As flag bearers of the Lafarge-Holcim Awards, you now have the opportunity to speak and be heard. Use this platform to push for change wherever you are.
In the Next Generation category, 4 prizes are awarded per region. The prize money allocated is $25,000 for the first prize winner, $20,000 for second, $15,000 for third, and $10,000 for the fourth prize winner. In addition to the prize money and a certificate, every winning team receives a personalized trophy featuring the modular, devised by the Swiss architect Le Corbusier. It is mounted on a block produced by LafargeHolcim, made of eco-packed low-carbon concrete containing sustaino-resource-saving cement. It showcases materials that enable circular flows and carbon-neutral construction. The prize winners will be announced in ascending order from 4th place up to 1st. Commentary on the projects will be provided by Marilyn Anderson. She is responding to questions from Edward Schwartz. Marilyn Anderson is a member of the board of the LafargeHolcim Foundation and heads its academic committee. She participated in all 5 regional awards juries. Edward Schwartz has been in charge of the LafargeHolcim Foundation for Sustainable Construction since it was established in 2003.
Marilyn, did anything in particular stick out amongst the next generation entries in Asia Pacific?
I would say that in the region in general, there was a lot of entries that were about policy or technology, but in the next generation in particular, we could see an emergence of a lot of awareness and sensitivity to social questions combined with bringing in the most advanced knowledge, or what we know that could be either high-tech or low-tech, but then would be interfacing with these social questions.
So would that mean that the social questions are more something that the younger generation would be looking at than seasoned professionals?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think it's more that there could be maybe more bold or more utopian in how far we can go on these questions.
So let's move on and have a look at the first of the 2 fourth ex aequo winning projects for Asia Pacific, and for that we'll move to India.
More and more airtight, fully glazed buildings are being built all over the world. In countries with hot, semi-arid climates such as India, such architecture fails to suit local conditions. The Cultivated Envelope project proposes an environmentally sustainable facade system for these countries. Thin slabs of local red sandstone are used as facade cladding. These are arranged to create a grid of windows and planters. The vegetation becomes a special feature of the building. The facade shades the indoor areas and moderates temperature fluctuations. The facade grid is independent of the building's structural grid. This gives great design flexibility. Cultivated Envelope wins the LafargeHolcim Awards Next Generation 4th Prize Ex Aequo 2020 Asia Pacific. The prize goes to Divya Jyoti, architect from Pune. The awards jury praises this project for being appropriate to the climatic context, culturally well-rooted and aesthetically convincing. The system is suitable both for new buildings and for the renovation of existing buildings. The project proves how successful rejecting international trends and embracing local needs can be.
So we see projects with green facades over and over again. What stands in the way of such sensible projects of becoming like commonplace?
I would say it's not that easy, first of all, to maintain such projects and make them really successful. Plants don't necessarily grow on vertical objects, and therefore there is this combination of, does it just look green or is it actually green? And to make it both green and successful is not that easy.
So how does this project then differ from others that are similar? For example, the famous Bosco Verticale in Milan.
Well, I would say that in scale, of course, it's more modest, but what we really liked about this particular project in India is that it had this combined sensitivity to many more aspects than just bringing plants to an envelope. It was the material chosen to hold them. To have the comfort issue in place, to have the transparency and light aspects also. So it was more than bringing, let's say, plants on an envelope. It was combining all of these and confront themselves to the reality of a prototype.
So thank you very much, Marilyn. So let's move on to the second project, ranked 4th in Asia Pacific. This time we're traveling to Indonesia.
The districts of Jakarta along the Ciliwung River have never had proper sanitation infrastructure. This leads to many problems for people and nature. Buoyant Amenity proposes the environmentally responsible upgrading of such a district. Old structures are to be refurbished and augmented with new facilities. Floating platforms made of bamboo and wood will accommodate sewage treatment using a plant-based filtration system. Toilets will be provided within an enclosure. The water will be supplied by rainwater collection tanks. Water hyacinths treat the waste and filter toxic substances such as lead or mercury out of the water. Buoyant Amenity wins the Lafarge Wholesome Awards Next Generation 4th Prize 2020 ex aequo Asia Pacific. The prize goes to Rionaldi Gunari, Laurentius Rodriguez and Gani Waratama, students of Parayangan Catholic University in Bandung. The project is appraised by the awards jury as simple but effective and well integrated into its context. The proposed solution is environmentally sustainable and functional. The jury commends the reproducibility of the project, which could have remarkable impact on the environment.
So Marilyn, what do you particularly like about this inventive project?
Many things, actually. So first of all, it's a very plausible, very innovative, and also scalable, but gently scalable project, because from a one at a time intervention, you can really have an impact on a large scale, both by working on the remediation of the river itself and on providing truly better amenities for people.
So can this really be accepted as it is, or is it maybe even too innovative?
I actually think it can be readily accepted because it is so simple. It combines natural principles that many people directly in contact with nature actually know. And it is actually easy to maintain because a lot of it depends on the river and depends on the nature, as well as easy to maintain because it's in the end quite low tech. So on the contrary, I would say that it is ready to be accepted.
Okay, so let's move on to the third ranked project, and for that we'll go to Thailand.
The natural ecosystems along Thailand's coast have been damaged by decades of overexploitation, excessive tourism, and industrial manufacturing. The Mangrove Recovery Project aims to counteract the destruction of the coasts. A string of 80 triangular floating breakwaters in the sea reduce wave intensity and the resulting coastal erosion. A system of bamboo screens along the coast also absorbs wave energy and collects sediment from the seawater. This is needed for mangrove reforestation. A facility to support mussel and crab propagation is also planned. It will be open to tourists. Mangrove Recovery wins the Lafarge Wholesome Awards Next Generation 3rd Prize 2020 Asia Pacific. The prize goes to Dolatep Chetty, architect from Pathum Thani, under the supervision of Professor Kutalia Jirapresetkun from Kasetsart, University of Bangkok. The awards jury praises the convincing multi-layered, multi-scale design of the project, as well as the careful analysis of the site and thoughtful integration of environmental technologies into the landscape and architectural design. The scientific-driven approach incorporating high and low-tech elements ultimately leads to a poetic atmosphere.
That's quite a comprehensive and multifaceted project. What aspects make it really stand out?
I would say that part of it is its comprehensiveness, because it really looks at this interface between the mangrove sort of restoration aspect, but also looking at how this can be an elegant intervention in that area. And beyond that, it also looks at how this intervention can go away when it's not needed anymore. So this care about biodegradable materials, about the fact that it should be deconstructed after 30 years, all show how much of an emphasis was put on the site and its specificities, and how respectful we have to be of nature when we try to intervene on it.
It's striking in this competition how many projects again have to do with water. Is that this because the juries like water projects, or is there a different reason behind that?
I think not only the jury, but everyone is realizing how precious the water as a resource is. And we have moved away from taking it for granted and now realize that not only do we need the water, the H2O, but we really need all the ecosystem around the water. We have damaged it, and now it's time that we really take care of it again so that we can continue to actually benefit from it in the long run.
Another topic addressed by many of the projects are informal settlements, and that's exactly what we're going to look at now. We're going to the second ranked project, and that's taking us back to India.
The residents of Ambujwadi, an informal settlement in northwest Mumbai, are socially, politically and economically marginalized. The lack of urban infrastructure is glaring. The Towers of Strength project envisages the construction of mid-rise buildings throughout the slum community. They take up little ground but provide an immense amount of floor space. The towers will be built by local construction workers. This allows the residents to express their own identity. These buildings will house offices, training facilities, a healthcare center, and public restrooms. Renewable energy systems will ensure sustainability in terms of energy and cost effectiveness. Towers of Strength wins the Lafarge Holcim Awards Next Generation Second Prize 2020 Asia Pacific. The prize goes to Lorenzo Fernandez, architect from Mumbai. The awards jury praises the project's sensitivity to problems in informal settlements. The jury sees the project as an optimistic vision of how architecture can enhance social life.
Building vertically has become the order of the day in response to the need for densification. Can informal settlements take on a pioneering role in this, especially since they have tended mainly so far to be low-rise?
I guess they may have to some extent, but there is also the really big question of land use here. And I think the entry shows a very interesting approach to say, okay, we are not going to use more land, we are going to use the vertical dimension instead, and we are going through an acupunctural intervention to bring in actual social spaces that gives a new legitimacy to slums.
In the next generation category, we're usually looking for visions, ideas. So do you think that it's possible, actually possible, that such a visionary concept could ever get realized?
I definitely hope so, because it has this power in it about the right to exist for slums as a real city, a city that actually has functions that go beyond survival but are about living. And I really think that it's maybe slightly utopian, but in a way somewhat available or understandable and therefore implementable solution to bring it in slums and make them true cities and therefore legitimate ones.
And now let's move on to the winner of the Next Generation category of this awards in Asia Pacific. Another outstanding project that we're going to look at, and we'll stay in India to do so.
Koliwadas are indigenous fishing villages in Mumbai. These communities have been marginalized and are in danger of losing their identity and space within the city. This project aims to rehabilitate Mahim Koliwada by providing new infrastructures to be developed in partnership with the community. The project focuses on 4 intervention zones from the shoreline to the urban front. In the first zone, new jetties and farming areas along the shore will support fishing activities. Next, new storage areas for equipment and a recycling center are provided. A connecting zone facilitates seafood processing, workshops, and community functions. The final zone includes a community kitchen, market, and plaza. The project also supports the recovery of the mangrove ecosystem in the Miti River. This will reduce the risk of flooding. Recovered Foreshore wins the Lafarge Holcim Awards Next Generation First Prize 2020 Asia Pacific. The prize goes to Soledad Patiño, architect in the Graduate School of Design at Harvard. The awards jury is convinced that this project will give Mahim Koliwada new social and economic significance. With this upgrade, many residents will no longer need to commute long distances within the city.
So once again water, once again a marginalized community. This project actually seems to be like a summary of the winners in Asia Pacific.
In a way, yes, I guess. With still a new take on it that is really working at the interface between the social aspects, but the deeply social ones, and the interaction with nature and with the seashore in particular.
And now if you summarize what really sticks out with this project, what made it get the first prize?
I think it's this sensitivity to the local reality there. It's a truly holistic approach that tries to encompass what we need as activities, fishing and offices and so on, and how we live. And therefore to go deep into really understanding all of these together in such a place with the sensitivity, the aesthetic, poetry as well, really made it a natural winner.
One of the goals of recognizing projects submitted by young professionals and students in the next generation category of our awards is, of course, to gain attention and to share ideas on a broader scale. So we asked the next generation first prize winner, Soledad Patiño, what this recognition means to her.
Winning the Lafarge-Holcim Next Generation Prize is a good way of pushing forward projects that put in the agenda of the disciplines of architecture, urban planning and design, issues of sanitation, equity and social inclusion. The pandemic demonstrated that public health is one of the biggest global challenges today, and in this context, designing resilient forms of sanitation infrastructure, mainly for that part of the world that lacks accessibility to it, is urgent and needs a lot of critical thinking and imagination from our disciplines.
So let's recap the results and look at the winners.
To learn more about the Lafarge-Holcim Awards and its winners, check the website of the Lafarge-Holcim Foundation. It offers the latest information and videos on all Next Generation category prize-winning projects from around the world. In addition, the renowned international architecture magazine AA, L'Architecture d'Aujourd'hui, has published a special issue on the latest Next Generation winners of the Lafarge-Holcim Awards. You can download this issue for free from the website of the Foundation. What happens next? The prize money will be transferred immediately, but the handover of the well-deserved prizes will take a little longer. The winners will receive their trophies and certificates at the International Lafarge-Holcim Next Generation Awards Lab next year. All winners of a Next Generation prize from the 5 regions will be invited to exchange experiences and to link into a growing network of experts in sustainability and design. At the same time, up to 3 recipients of a research and practice grant will be announced. The further development of their next generation prize-winning projects will be supported by the Lafarge-Holcim Foundation. The winners of the Global Lafarge-Holcim Awards 2021 will be announced by Hashim Sarkis mid-November at a special event as part of the International Venice Biennale of Architecture. Professor Sarkis is the curator of this year's exhibition and was the chair of the Global Awards jury.
It's very evident if you walk through this Biennale that sustainability is a very common theme. It actually cuts across almost all of the projects. And even though the exhibition is organized around 5 scales, we will be organizing the symposia and programs that will come in the 6 months around these themes that are cut across. And in November, mid-November, there will be a long weekend where we will come together to talk about the different dimensions of sustainability, from the ecological to the behavioral to the aesthetic, but we'll also be coming together to celebrate the Holcim Awards and organizing together an event for the awards, but also an intellectual platform for talking about the joint common ambitions of the award and the Biennale.
All winners in the main category from the 5 regions were qualified for this global competition. These regional awards and acknowledgement prize winners will also be announced and celebrated in Venice.
I would like to congratulate all of the prize winners for their magnificent projects and visions and thank them on behalf of the Lafarge-Holcim Foundation for their work and sharing their ideas.
So good luck to all the participants as you pursue your ideas, and we're looking very much forward to seeing you, hopefully in person next year at the Awards Lab.
Indeed, we hope so. Sustainable construction needs many new ideas and needs young professionals who want to think further and rethink how and with what we can build. So thank you all for your support in creating a more sustainable future.